Hey everybody, 815 Sports Podcast here on a Saturday. Nice and cold outside. Hope everybody's enjoying the holiday season. Today we're going to talk about our NFL picks, and we're also going to talk about Brad Underwood calling out his team, rightfully so, after their performance last Saturday against Penn State, coming off the big win against Texas. So to start it off today, we're going to start with our Saturday slate. Really quick, just to cover up.
Well, we didn't forget it. We didn't forget about Thursday.
Yeah,
night.
we didn't forget about Thursday night. We just weren't able to do it in time. But we both picked San Francisco. And while we're talking about San Francisco, personally, I think they're going to be the team that comes out of the NFC. I mean, their defense is phenomenal. They have a lot of playmakers. Getting McCaffrey was a huge addition. And Brock Purdy, who they claimed Mr. Irrelevant, has looked pretty relevant. What do you think about San Francisco, Jake?
Do you think they're the best? Are they the best team in the league all around? It's hard to say they're not. I think they have the best defense in the league.
Yeah, their defense is spectacular, no question.
I think they have some of the best weapons in the league. Obviously, they don't have the best quarterback in the league, but you don't need the best quarterback in the league to win when you have the best weapons and the best defense, and they're showing you that. But what he's done is remarkable. He came in versus the Dolphins, ironically, I think in the first quarter. I don't remember the exact time of the game he came in. I'm trying to remember.
What, didn't Jimmy Garoppolo get hurt on the first drive?
Well, I think Jimmy Garoppolo played the first drive.
Yeah, I think he got hurt on like a third down.
So it doesn't matter. He played the entire game. And, of course, we're thinking, great, awesome, backup quarterback. And then he comes in and he doesn't wow you, but he just does everything right. Fundamentally, right. Hitting the short stuff. They run the ball, and he doesn't try to do too much.
Yeah, and it's a lot easier when you can dump it to McCaffrey. But his QBR is actually for a quarterback that came in their first two starts. He's the only other quarterback that has had as high of a QBR as he has had, which is 115 plus. Can you guess who the quarterback is? In his first two starts as an NFL quarterback, there's only two quarterbacks that have had a QBR over 115. Can you guess who the other quarterback is?
Are they both playing now?
He's currently still playing, yeah.
Aaron Rodgers?
Yep, you're correct. That's who it is.
You said two?
It's Brock Purdy is the one that is Brock Purdy and Aaron Rodgers.
There's not another one.
No, it's just those two. I seen that on the ESPN
I don't know,
stat.
that was a good guess.
Yeah. But yeah, San Francisco is a really good team, and it'll be interesting to see what they do.
I mean, it's going to be hard because they're going to have to go to Philadelphia unless Philadelphia chokes some games off here, which I don't know that. I mean, they do. Philadelphia's in a tough division, so they could. I mean, they still got to play the Giants and the Redskins and Redskins. I'm going to do that for the rest of my life, but so they could lose a game or two, but I don't see them dropping.
Yeah.
They'd have to drop 3, right? Because
San Francisco's lost 4 games and the Eagles have lost 1.
So and then Minnesota. I mean, I don't know. Minnesota would be tough, but I just think San Francisco is more fundamental than Minnesota.
Yeah,
I think in all 3 phases.
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean Kirk Cousins can't throw to Jefferson and Cook run for 250 yards and they win. But I'm just saying overall, I think San Francisco is more fundamental.
Yeah,
defensively.
Minnesota's defense sucks.
Well, let's be honest about Brock Purdy. He's gonna have some moments where you're like, shit, what is this dude doing? Like, he's gonna throw interceptions. He's gonna have a bad game. I mean, Tua was second in the MVP for 75% of the season, and now look, he's don't even have a chance.
His 2 worst games the past 2 weeks.
So once defenses find out that they like to do this short, get the ball out like the Dolphins did, he's going to have to start taking shots down the field, which will result in interceptions and will result in punts and bad passes, inaccurate throws. Yeah. So, it's coming. And the thing about it is it's late in the season. So if it comes in a playoff game, that's going to suck.
Yeah.
But you'd like to have him have some adversity now before the playoffs. But
he's faced adversity a lot in his career, and I understand what you're saying.
I think the NFL is a little different.
Yeah, you're right. I think they'll be okay, though. I think they'll be okay. But we'll move
But
on.
what he's been asked to do as a backup quarterback,
Yeah.
for them to beat a good Dolphins team, for them to beat a fundamental Seattle Seahawks team at home, where everyone knows how tough it is to play there. And then didn't they beat Tampa Bay?
They dominated Tampa
Arguably
Bay.
one of the greatest quarterback of all time.
But God, he has been terrible this year.
But he's been asked to overcome. He's been asked to do more than any backup probably this whole entire year. So it's pretty remarkable what he's done.
Yeah.
And I know you don't like the Niners, but
I don't like the Niners, but they're a damn good team, and I wish my defense was that good.
It's just hard to not respect them.
Yeah. With that being said, we'll hop into the Colts-Vikings today. This game starts at noon. Minnesota 6-1 at home. It's hard to win in Minnesota. Matt Ryan doesn't impress me. He's not mobile.
Sucks.
Pretty easy to sack because he's fumbled the ball double-digit amount of times this year.
To this dude. He's fallen off a cliff like Tom Brady.
Yeah,
they're older. I mean,
yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah, I got Minnesota in this game, and I think Justin Jefferson has 70+ receiving yards.
Yeah, I got the Vikings. I think they'll be scoring a lot today. I think that 3.5 point spread's kind of wild.
Would you take it?
Yeah, I mean, Indianapolis they suck, I think.
Yeah.
And what's Minnesota's record? Aren't they 11-2 or 10-2?
They're 10-3. The Colts are 4-8-1, and they're 2-4-1 on the road.
God, 3.5. That just seems pretty
low.
Then again, before Minnesota played Dallas, I thought they should have been favored, and Dallas went in there and made them look like a peewee team.
Yep, the Lions beat them last week, but that was in Detroit, I believe.
Yeah, Minnesota's a great team, but they're also not unbeatable because of Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. You never know. You really never know what you're going to get out of Kirk.
No,
he's pretty inconsistent.
He's the most, I would say, inconsistent quarterback in the entire league. Out of all the good teams, if you had to pick a team, it would be him. I guess you could say Tua.
Yeah.
I mean,
we'll see what happens though. But I think we each got Minnesota in this game.
Yeah. We're probably not going to have many picks that are different this week because this is an awful week of football.
Yeah.
Sorry for any of the teams.
Well, I already see 2 picks we got difference on our sheet.
If there wasn't a foot of snow going to be dumped tonight in Buffalo, it might be a good game. Hell, who knows? Maybe it's going to be a better game because there's a foot of snow. Maybe it's going to be hard. I mean, we'll get to that in a game, but I was just looking at the whole slate of games, and it just looks.
They're not great this week.
No, I don't. I mean, Buffalo and Miami's got to be the
best game of the week.
Game.
Yeah.
Comparing the two team record-wise, it has to be.
As I look at it, I think that's the only matchup between. There's
the Giants.
There's one other matchup between teams that are above 500.
Giants and Redskins.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be a good game just for the fact that they're both playing for a lot and it's a division rival, but
yeah, we'll get to that too. But here we'll hop in. We'll start talking about the Ravens-Browns game today. Watson's looked awful as he's come in and been their quarterback. And the Ravens are without Lamar Jackson this week. They got Huntley back there, quarterback. The Browns, the Browns are favored by 3 at home. It's cold, no snow there. But I think Cleveland's going to win this game. Just stick to the run game. Don't make Deshaun Watson do a lot. Make it to simple throws, let him ease back into it, and go from there. But I think Cleveland's a better team than Baltimore. Right now, I would take them without Lamar.
That's just due to you're missing your. I think I would take Cleveland to win, and I'd take them to cover this 3-point spread.
Yeah,
I think they have the weapons. I think if you let Deshaun Watson branch out a little bit, he could beat you. And in fact, the way Baltimore's played all year, I mean, they've kind of played shitty.
Yeah.
They're kind of a 9-4, could easily be 7 and what would it? Well, if you had 7 wins, what would you be? 7 and
7 and 6. 7 and 6. But looking at Baltimore though, there's so many games. because they've led in a lot of
Well, that
games
means
this
they
year
also
too.
have a good defense then.
Yeah.
Well, the defense has played better since I've watched when Miami played Baltimore, because they've been in a lot of low scoring games. So, I mean, I guess you can credit their defense, but
There was a while there where Baltimore led by like double digits in each one of the games they lost. So really, they could also be potentially undefeated.
They could be. So I guess they're a hit or miss team.
Yeah.
But they would be way more of a miss without Lamar than they would be a hit.
Yeah.
But I think we both got Cleveland. Well, we do.
Yeah. Up next, we got the Dolphins Bills, biggest game of, in my opinion, the weekend, and definitely Saturday. The Bills 5-1 at home. Miami 3-4 on the road, 8-5. Miami really needs this game. Really quick, the Dolphins are an 8-game losing streak with a kickoff temperature 40 degrees or below. Tua Tagovailoa 0-3 in games under 50 degrees.
It's a big sample size, huh?
Yeah. Well, that's all I got. And then we got 2 touchdowns to 4 interceptions for Tua in these temperature games. 14 QBR in these 3 games. And he came off his worst game of the season against the Chargers.
Yeah, everything looks like shit.
Yeah.
This whole game in itself, the way the Dolphins season going, it just looks like shit. But that's why I'm not picking the Dolphins. I'm taking Buffalo. But it would make all the sense in the world for the Dolphins to win this game. Nobody thinks they are. There's a foot of snow. A team that plays that at the temperature drops below 60 degrees like one time all year in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, let me just say this.
And I got the Bills today. I got the Bills as well, but go ahead.
Who likes to play in cold weather?
Aaron Rodgers says that he does, but he hasn't really,
But if you had to sit down with Rodgers and ask him if he'd rather play in 55 degrees or 25 degrees, I don't know anybody who would say they'd rather play in 25 degrees. If they say yeah, they're just lying for the cameras, I think, because nobody likes to play in cold weather, and all these Buffalo Bill fans are like, oh, well, no shit, you guys are used to it. You live up there in that crappy dungeon of I don't even know city you want to call it. Nobody likes to play in cold weather. So, I mean, obviously Buffalo has all the advantage. Okay, we get that. But what I'm telling you is the Dolphins are pretty good at stopping the run. We're not good at stopping the pass. So if there's a lot of snow
mm-hmm.
and it's windy, I would lean a little bit of an advantage towards the Dolphins, because that would mean Buffalo would try to run the ball a lot.
Yeah.
And they're pretty good at stopping the run. So we would just have to make sure we don't get beat over the top.
Which could be harder to do based on the weather today.
That's what I'm thinking. But that doesn't mean it can't happen, and that doesn't mean it won't happen. I'm just saying if I had to pick a reason for the Dolphins to stay in this game, it's because they're good at stopping the run. In today's game, how it's forecasted, you would think running the ball is going to be key.
Like was it last year?
Right?
When Belichick ran. Didn't he run the ball like 50 times? Was it last year? Mac Jones' rookie year, right? When Belichick ran the ball almost every single play.
Yeah, and they won.
In Buffalo. Yeah.
And they won. So this is what I'm saying. Like, this game to me has Buffalo circled in every category that they're better.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, it just seems like to me, if the Dolphins can stay in it,
mm-hmm.
I think they have the better weapons offensively. I really do. Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. I think Jeff Wilson's going to play. Raheem Munster. If Mike Gesicki can, I don't know what the fuck the Dolphins have been doing with Mike Gesicki. He has 6 targets in the last 4 games, but it's pathetic. They need to get him more involved. They need to just throw jump balls to him 10, 15 yards over the middle. That's what they were doing early in the season. They were hitting middle shots over the middle field. I know teams are taking that away, but they haven't thrown to Gesicki the last 3 games. Throw the ball to him. He's going to go upstairs and catch it. And if he doesn't, it's probably going to fall incomplete because he'll turn into a defender.
And he's a great player, and they don't utilize him enough. Like in the years past, especially I wanted on my fantasy team really bad the past couple of years because of how many targets he gets and just the kind of player he is, but he hasn't gotten those same opportunities this year. And again, talking about the weather and stuff, I was looking on Twitter. This is from the Bills Twitter. There's outside the stadium. And look at it inside the stadium. I mean, there's a lot of snow on the ground, and it's going to be cold. Oh, sorry about that. That's my phone.
Oh, I was gonna say mine's not. But anyways, yeah.
It's cold. It's a lot of snow on the ground. Tua does know how to win on Saturdays.
I guess.
He
does. I mean, that's what the world is. We think of people come up with the darndest stats. So yeah, he does win on Saturday.
Yeah.
But what they need to do, I think they need to worry about if there is going to be 6 or 7 inches of snow, they need to worry about keeping the sidelines cleared, like where you're out of bounds. Because what I don't want to happen is, like, for catches that are down the sidelines, because a lot of time when it's shitty weather, you throw jump balls up, and of course the routes are ran down the sidelines.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't be having catches being called a catch because they can't see the sidelines. So for some reason, if they don't clear the middle of the field as well, you're only talking about yards, like a couple yards on runs. But you're talking about the game. If you give up a 45-yard catch,
mm-hmm.
and it's they can't see it. So I think they need to clear the sidelines where you can see the out of bounds, and then worry about doing the field. Just because I feel like that could be a huge advantage. And like in the end zone, they need to make sure the end zones you can clearly see the out of bounds lines, because I'm not about to go into Buffalo and get screwed, because I know how it is when you play in Buffalo. It's a house of horrors, and I do not want to get screwed.
And the last time they played there, they lost by 15 to Buffalo. We'll see. I mean, I'm looking forward to watching it today.
The last time I feel a win in Buffalo was when Jay Ajayi and the Dolphins won in overtime. So it wasn't that long ago, because like Jay Ajayi's but then the Dolphins did win that snow game in Pittsburgh. Because Antonio, who was it that stepped out of bounds?
That was Antonio Brown.
He stepped. If he didn't step out of bounds, he was gone.
Yeah.
So they have won. I mean, here's the thing. They play in the AFC East, so it's always cold in New England in the winter. It's always cold in New York and Buffalo. How long have they played in the AFC East? For as long as I've been alive. So to say that they've never played in cold, they have to play in cold weather 3 times a year, every year, because every year they go up there, it's cold, unless they get those games early on in the year. But a lot of times it doesn't fall like that. So they played in cold weather. It's not like the Dolphins never play in cold weather. They play in the AFC East. They don't play in the AFC South, where it's Houston, Jacksonville, Tennessee, and
Houston, Jacksonville, Indianapolis.
We're a dome.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee's a warmer climate.
Sometimes it's cold, but most of the time it's
Atlanta,
not.
it's kind of always warm, and then Jacksonville, it's kind of always warm.
Atlanta's the NFC, but I know what you're saying.
The 4 teams in that division are more of a warmer climate.
Yeah. Houston, the Jags, but yeah, I think Buffalo's going to win this game in a rout. I really do, but Miami needs this game, because if they lose this game, and then next week they play Green Bay, and if Green Bay wins this weekend,
they're 8-7.
Like, if Green Bay wins out, they have a 76% shot of making the playoffs. I know I'm pulling at strings here, but I don't think these next 2 weeks are pretty crucial for the Dolphins season. You don't want to be 8-7, after these next 2 weeks, because then you don't know if you get into the wild card. Well, there's a lot to be said.
They have so how they do this playoff simulators and bullshit, whatever it is, it's just a bunch of, I don't know what goes into it, but if they lose tonight, as long as they win their last 3 games, they have a 100% chance to make the playoffs. So I don't know how that is. Obviously, tiebreakers come into it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they have a 100% chance. So obviously they can't miss the playoffs if they win out, and they can lose tonight. Even I've seen if they lose tonight and they lose to Green Bay, but they win their next 2 games, they have like an 87% chance to make the playoffs. So I don't understand. The Dolphins must have done so much work early on in the season that somehow they still have a chance, but I'm just not. I don't want to back into the playoffs.
Yeah, you definitely don't. And
like somebody said, if the Dolphins win this game versus Buffalo and they win out, which it's only 4 games, so it's teams go on 4-game winning streak all the time. If they win out and Buffalo loses at Cincinnati on Monday night, the Dolphins win the division because that would mean both teams would be 12-5, and they beat Buffalo twice. So there's still hope if they can win tonight. Tonight's the biggest game of the season. Of course, it falls on a fucking winter storm. It's just been my luck for my entire life with NFL.
And I hate to say it, but it would really be your luck if Miami fell out of the playoffs. But we'll talk about that later.
I'm used to it.
It's tough. We'll see what ends up happening. Started off on Sunday. We got Philadelphia at the Bears.
Jesus. Is Justin Fields playing?
Yeah, he's probably gonna. He's playing.
Claypool's out.
Okay.
Somebody's out, right?
It's probably Claypool. But I really think Philly's gonna win this game.
Oh yeah.
And they're probably gonna win it in a rout. When they're expected to win, besides when they played Washington, the past couple of weeks, the Eagles beat the teams they're supposed to beat, and they really beat them. They beat Tennessee, handedly, and then they went in and they beat the Giants last weekend handedly. So they're handling their business.
I don't see why that changes.
No, I don't either. And I think the MVP race is between Hurts and Mahomes. And I honestly, I kind of see him giving it to Mahomes.
Yeah.
But I think Hurts is going to finish second in the voting. But yeah, I got Philadelphia in this one. And Chicago's just trying to get a good draft pick, really. So they don't care if they win or lose.
The only way Chicago stays in this game is if Fields has a game how he had versus the Dolphins, where he runs for 200 yards and throws for 120, which obviously he's done it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Philly's defense is a little better than Miami's.
Yeah.
I don't see this being much of a game.
Would you take the -9?
No, that's tough. I probably would take Philadelphia to win and cover. For sure to win. I didn't mean probably. To win and cover that spread. I just think the Bears stay in it for a while, but I think it gets out of hand late.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I would take the 9-point spread. So, yeah, I would.
Up next, we got Atlanta at the Saints. Both of these teams actually still have a shot to win the division.
In the NFC, whatever.
Yep, and sneak into the playoffs. And, Atlanta, they're 1-5 on the road. They're not that great of a road team. And New Orleans is only 3-4 at home, which they're normally really good at home. Normally, that's a tough place to play.
Yeah.
But they're going through it this year without Sean Payton, and they don't use Kamara correctly. I personally think they're wasting him down there. But I do have New Orleans in this game. They're
I
at
like
home.
New Orleans to win and cover.
Yeah, but -4.
I don't think that's. I like New Orleans to win and cover. I think they're better. I think both teams are desperate, and when both teams are desperate, you never know.
Yeah.
So
in Atlanta, they're starting Ritter this week. They're not starting Mariota.
So far we've wait, say that again. Atlanta's
starting Desmond Ritter. He played for Cincinnati last year. They're not playing.
So I'm definitely taking the Saints to win and cover.
Okay.
Didn't know that.
Maybe they'll pass more. They've
Have
been
you
running the ball
seen more
here.
of a year where quarterbacks just come out and start for teams you've never even heard of these names? Like, who heard of Brock Purdy before?
Me.
Well,
he played at Iowa State.
Okay, I get that. But for most of the league, who's heard of Brock Purdy? Who's heard of this guy from Atlanta? Well, let's keep going down.
Well, you've heard of Ritter, though.
No, I haven't.
He played in the college football playoff last year, Cincinnati, when they played against Alabama.
But now he's already asked to step in.
Yeah.
Like the Rams. Like, they've had two.
Well, now they got Baker.
I just feel like there's been Arizona and Denver. Like, there's just been so many. There's been so much quarterback controversy this year. Like Cleveland. Like the Dolphins. Like, this has been the most quarterback controversy year that I can remember.
Oh, just having to rely on backups.
Just every team.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just wanted to say
a lot of turmoil.
I think we both got the Saints.
Yeah, we both got the Saints. Up next, we got the Lions and Jets.
Okay, I think this could be game of the week in terms of it's a pick 'em. Both teams are desperate. Detroit is the hottest team in the league. Cole probably doesn't like to hear that.
I don't disagree with you, though. I don't disagree with you.
And the Jets, I just think at the end of the day, the Jets are going to jet.
Zach Wilson's playing,
just,
and I don't
just
think
like
the
the Miami
Dolphins.
Miami Dolphin people. I'm not a homer. They choke. They are one of the worst. They are one of the best teams to start the season and worst to finish the season. So I'm not just saying it, but I think the Jets will Jets, and I think Detroit finally gets over that Detroit is Detroit kind of thing where people always say they choke. I think they get over that this weekend. I think they beat the Jets on the road.
I think one thing about Detroit is they're kind of I think it's easy for the country to get behind them and like them. I mean, honestly,
Yeah,
I like the Lions.
It's time.
It is. It's time for them to be good.
It's time for a team like the Dolphins. It's time for a team like Detroit to come out of the woodwork and just have a season.
And if I'm a Detroit fan, this is probably the best year of football.
Kudos to their fans.
Yeah, and they have a bright future ahead. They're gonna have a top 5 pick because the Rams suck, and they got the Rams pick. Honestly, I think the Lions are gonna get into the playoffs. Jared Goff is a pretty good quarterback. Honestly,
That's what I'm saying. They've got it.
They have some weapons.
The team likes Dan Campbell.
Yeah,
they play hard-nosed football. They're a good team. That was a good win.
Yeah,
the Dolphins beating Detroit was a good win. And it looks better now.
Yeah, going into the draft next year, they don't have to add a quarterback. A lot of mock drafts have them picking a quarterback, and I understand that, but I think they can add another piece on defense, keep Jared Goff with the wide receivers they have, the running backs they have.
They're solid. They're set.
Yeah, they're still going to be a great team.
They're not far. They're not like next year. Detroit competes for the division.
Yeah.
Between the Packers, Detroit, and Minnesota. I think the Bears are a year 2 behind. Depending on what they do in free agency, I think the Bears are still the worst in the division. And I'm not saying they can't become good because they signed a few players. Soldier Field, it's a hard place to win. So I just think Detroit's set up for the future.
They are.
And they might be set up better than any team in the division right now.
Yeah.
Minnesota, it would be hard to argue that. A Vikings fan would probably be able to shut me up.
I don't know, though. I think overall I like what Detroit's doing better than Minnesota.
I just think they're solid. If Detroit were to be if roles were to be reversed next year where Detroit's in Minnesota seed, I would not be shocked.
Yeah.
How they've played all year. How they've averaged the most points in the league almost all year.
Yeah.
Even when they played the Dolphins, they put up 30 points.
They're a good team. They're a good team, and they're playing good at the right time of the year.
Yeah.
But you got Detroit, but I'm actually Zach Wilson's playing, which sucks. But I have to pick some different games to catch up to Jake. The Jets are at home. The Jets have a pretty good defense against a really good offense, and the Lions. And I got the Jets in this game. I don't love the pick.
Go ahead, do that.
Jets. Jets. Look, I didn't want to pick the Jets in this game, but I had to do it.
That's the corniest, dumbest chant I've ever heard of. When Fireman Ed gets up on that thing, I wish he'd fall.
I don't know,
He
man.
ain't high up. He's only 2 feet off the ground, but I wish he'd lose his balance and take a tumble.
For me, I would say the Skull's the worst chant, but that's just me. But anyways,
Skull's pretty bad.
It
but
is
if
bad.
you like the Vikings, this is pretty cool.
Well, it's always if you like the team, if it's your team, it's pretty cool.
The thing is I don't
like
get
Rocky Top, Tennessee.
I don't get why they can do that, but we can't do this as Illinois fans. It's the same thing.
I don't know, because they're talking about Vikings, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, we'll move on. Pittsburgh at Carolina.
Yeah, this is kind of a
pretty much a pick 'em.
Shitbird game. I don't know.
Pittsburgh's got Mason Rudolph probably going to start this week. Pickett's out. I still got the Steelers, though, against Carolina.
Really?
Yeah. I like Tomlin. He's a good coach.
Well, I do too, but I mean, didn't Carolina just go and win at Seattle?
Yeah.
And now they're at home versus Pittsburgh? I got Carolina.
Okay. I got Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh's a better overall team, even though they're on the road. Cowboys, Jaguars. I feel like this is a trap game.
It's a trap game.
And Trevor Lawrence has been playing really well lately.
So how many times have you seen Jacksonville do this at home versus good teams? They did it last year. They beat Buffalo at home like it was a 9-3 game, 9-6. They did it this year. They beat Baltimore. I just feel like if Dallas goes in there and Dallas plays how they played versus Houston last week, they'll lose.
Houston should have won that game. They basically handed Dallas the game with their play calling at the goal
Battle
line.
of Texas. Yeah. America's team. Yeah. Okay, Skip.
That's just,
Well,
and honestly,
can you beat Houston at home by more than a freaking field goal?
you would think.
Come on, Dallas. You've got Super Bowl aspirations. Yeah.
I mean, Kansas City is going to dominate Houston, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But Dallas needs to win this game to stay in it for the division and a chance at the number 1 seed potentially.
We got that. We both got Dallas.
I got the Cowboys. I kind of wanted to pick Jacksonville, but
if we had to pick an upset of the week, I think we would both take Jacksonville. If we had to pick an upset of the week, it would be mine would be Jacksonville over Dallas.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's see, where else am I looking? I don't know. I don't see another one to where I wouldn't. Yeah, that's a good one, Jake. That's what I would do too.
So, we both got the Cowboys. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really good game. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Jacksonville won.
I mean, that'll probably be another good game. Everybody will be tuned in for that one on Sunday. Chiefs, Texans. I don't think a lot of people will be paying attention to this game other than for fantasy playoff implications. Kansas City should roll in this game. I mean, they were rolling against Denver, and somehow Denver came back and made it a game. They were up 27-0.
They almost lost.
Yeah, I don't understand how that happened, but Houston's not that great of a football team. No. They don't really want to be this year. I've never had faith in Lovie Smith. I don't really think he's that good of a coach. Some people do.
Lost all I hope at Illinois.
I don't believe in Lovie at all. Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. The list goes on for that team.
This is kind of probably like could be one of the worst games of the year in terms of a team rolling over somebody. Like this could be like 52-7.
Yeah,
if they wanted to be.
Yeah, I would.
mean, the Dolphins were up 30-0 at halftime, and they took everyone out. That's why it ended up being like 30-15. Yeah. So,
I think Kansas City wins by 3 touchdowns. To be honest.
Yeah, I think they win. I would hold off on the 14-point spread just because I don't know if Kansas City will take starters out. That would be a spread I'd stay away from.
Yeah.
This next game is just the worst game ever.
Yeah, Cardinals, Broncos. Russell Wilson's not playing. Kyler Murray's out for the year. You got Colt McCoy against Brett Ripon.
See what I mean? Who the fuck is that?
I don't know, man. I don't know, but he came in last week and he threw a touchdown or two, and they made it a game against Kansas City. So,
I mean, I think I got Denver.
Yeah.
This was just because they're at home.
I also am taking Denver here. If Kyler was playing, I would have taken Arizona.
Yeah, then that spread the Cardinals would probably be favored by a field goal.
I'd like to take Arizona, but Denver's got a pretty good
defense. Arizona's hurt me too many times this year. I've taken them too many times.
Yeah.
Took them last week versus New England. They fucking choked. I ain't doing it again.
Kingsbury, man, I don't like
him. They've got weapons.
Yeah.
He's a terrible coach.
He's a bad coach.
They should be fired. Same with Chargers. These coaches that go for it all the time. So here's how I would coach. If it was more than 4th and a yard or 4th and 2, I would kick the field goal every time. Because how many times at the end of the game does it come down to a 1-possession game and you went for it 2 times inside the 20 and didn't get it? That's 6 points. So then maybe you do only need a field goal at the end of the game instead of a touchdown. They like to say analytics this. Shove the analytics up your ass and take the points. Because that's what Don Shula did with the Dolphins, and that's why he's the winningest head football coach in the league. He took the points. Yeah, when he got Dan Marino, he adapted, and they went for it sometimes. But he still would take the points 8 times out of 10 is what my dad said. So I like to take the points. Now, 4th and 1, 4th and inches, 4th and 2, with the team the Dolphins have, I like them to go for it. But anything over 4th and 2 or 3, I just take the points.
Yeah, I like going for it sometimes. It depends where you're at, though. I mean, honestly, if it's a 50-plus yard field goal and you don't have a lot of faith in your kicker,
then I punt. I just hate giving the team the ball at midfield because 9 times out of 10, what happens is they 4th and 3, 4th and 4 around midfield, 45, 47-yard line. They bring the house. So you have a half a second to make a decision, and it's fucked up. And then they're your team. You just gave the ball. There you go. Now they're basically one play away from field goal range.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
I just don't like going for it. I like punting. I like old school football.
Jake's conservative. I go for it. I like to roll the dice. When I play Madden, I go for it every time. I could be at my own 5-yard line, and I'll be going for it. It's just how I play.
I just think in terms of
I like controlling my own destiny.
In terms of the end of the game, I see so many games come down to one possessions.
Yeah.
And
most of the games,
if you would have taken the points the whole game, you wouldn't be having this discussion. Maybe the other team would be. The Dolphins have done it multiple times, and they just fuck themselves.
Yeah.
Take the points when they're there. And I've said before, go at 4th and 1, 4th and 2, go for it. But I'm telling you, 3 points are a lot better than nothing if you add them up.
Yeah. So, we both got Denver.
Yeah.
Up next, Patriots,
This
Raiders.
is a good game. I think this is a good game if we had to pick one.
The Raiders basically lost their season last week after what Baker did to them. But, yeah, I got Las Vegas in this game. You know, the New England's offense is terrible. I'm pretty sure they have Matt Patricia calling plays, which former defensive coordinator over to offensive coordinator. I don't understand it, but, you know, Bill always thinks he's smarter than everybody.
Yeah, that's
so. He knows best. Somehow they're 7-6. I don't think they're that good of a football team.
Yeah, they don't. They're a hard nose. Their defense keeps them in games, so they don't have to look pretty to win.
Yeah.
So who do you got?
I got Vegas.
Yeah, I got Vegas. I think they're more explosive offensively.
I mean, just throw the fucking ball to Devontae Adams. They don't throw the ball to him enough. He's the best wide receiver in the league, in my opinion, and they don't give him the ball enough.
Well,
that never happened in Green Bay. It was always targeted, and everybody knows that.
Well, I got Vegas.
Yeah, I got Vegas too. We'll see what ends up happening, but the Patriots they don't impress me on offense, and I feel like the Raiders can put up some points. Up next, we got Tennessee against the Chargers. Tennessee has been on a decline.
They're reeling.
Yeah.
They're reeling.
They're probably still going to win the division because of every other team's record, but they're going to just limp into the playoffs and then probably get beat in the first round.
The thing is they're going to get a home game probably.
Yeah, they will.
So
they will get one home game.
So this is one of those games. I think we're both taking the Chargers.
Yeah.
But under Vrabel and Tannehill in Tennessee, they've won games where they've had no chance. This is another one of those games. I said it probably 2 weeks ago with Tennessee, and they probably lost. But it wouldn't shock me for Henry to ball out, Tannehill to play okay, and the defense to play pretty good, in Tennessee to win this game. Because they are very desperate right now. Chargers are desperate too. But it just wouldn't shock me for Vrabel and Tennessee to win a game that they don't deserve to win because they've done it. That's what Vrabel's done in Tennessee. His whole career in Tennessee as a coach. They've won games they shouldn't have won with Ryan Tannehill. So, with that being said, we both got the Chargers.
Yeah. And I think Tennessee could have a lot of fans there in LA too.
Well, yeah, that's just a destination. They said last week it was 50-50. The Dolphins are way over here in the side of the map. I mean, for it to be 50-50, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. We both got the Chargers in this one.
Yeah.
Up next, we got Bengals, Bucks. Report is Tom Brady's going to retire at the end of the year, but we've seen that before. So, but God, he's been awful this year.
Besides that comeback versus
the Saints, but let's not act like they're a great football team. But still pretty impressive. Everybody and their brothers picking Cincinnati to win this week. So if somehow the Bucks win, I'm not gonna act like I'd be shocked. The Bucks need this game. If they fall to 6-8, they might give the division away to somebody else. And I think it's gonna happen because Cincinnati's a much better football team. There's no reason Cincinnati should lose this game. Go ahead.
There isn't. I took Cincinnati. I wanted to take Tampa Bay just because I know Tampa Bay, I've said desperate a lot. They are. It seems like they play good 1 week and then they play bad for 2 weeks. We both got the Bengals. We'll give Tom Brady and Tampa Bay the benefit of the doubt and say they probably stay in the game for a while. But if they don't, score with Cincinnati, it will be a blowout like it turned into one last week.
And I don't think they can score with Cincinnati.
I don't get it. Why? It doesn't make any sense to me. Tom Brady's not throwing to nobodies. He doesn't have a nobody as a back, right?
He's got Leonard Fournette. He's got Chris Godwin. He's got
Mike Evans.
which
So
for some reason they haven't been clicking this year. But
let's not act like this is a nobody team. If Tampa Bay was to go out and ball out tomorrow, 100% could see it.
And I've been expecting a turnaround on Tampa Bay, but we're late in the season now, so it's not a turnaround. This is just who they are.
I've thought the same thing. I've thought they could turn it around and they'd have a winning record, and they still could. If today's a game that could turn their season around because they could go 7-7, and then they probably play some of the shitty division, right? The rest of the year,
probably. I don't know what their schedule looks like the rest of the year.
They could if they went out, they could be 10-7, which would be a season they would salvage it. It wouldn't be a good season, but I don't think Tampa Bay wins. I'm just saying they have the team to win.
Yeah,
it wouldn't shock me if Tom Brady has a good game.
Yeah, but give me Cincinnati, and give me Cincinnati by probably 6 or 7 points. To be honest, they're just such a better team. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, obviously Burrow, Mixon, P. Ryan. The defense is starting to play better. I mean, they've beaten the Chiefs. They're a good overall football team. I like them in this game. I like them by a lot, and I think they're going to get a good road win in Tampa. Finally, we got Sunday Night Football. This game
is a lot.
There's a lot
for both teams.
Yeah, and for some other teams in the league, especially my Packers, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Both teams 7-5-1. They tied the last time they played. Somebody needs to win this game. If it ends in another tie, I don't know if any. I don't think any franchise or any team has ever had 2 ties in a year.
Yeah, that would coming out of the NFC least, it could happen again.
Yeah,
because this division's been shit for a while. It's a little bit better this year. It's pretty good. It's honestly a solid division. I got the Commanders.
I also have Washington. I would take the Giants plus 5.
Off.
Yeah,
they have fell off. They were a good team. I don't know if it's because who they were playing, but I got the Commanders.
Yeah, I like Heineke. Sunday Night Football. I'd rather have a different game on Sunday night, but there's really nothing else that you could put there. I just don't feel like these teams are that exciting. If there's a team that I had to root for, it'd be Washington. But going forward, whoever wins this game, so be it. This has a lot of implications for the Packers. They need a lot of other things to happen, but we already saw it with San Francisco beating Seattle. And
this even helps Detroit out, whoever loses this game. Like, it helps. This is a big game for a lot of teams. A lot of teams will be tuning into this game in the NFC.
Each of these teams, they don't have a cakewalk of a schedule after this either. So we'll see what ends up happening.
Some of them probably got to play the Cowboys and Eagles.
Yeah.
So
the Chiefs are on there too. So I got Washington in this game.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it'd be low scoring, but who knows? Finally, we got Rams, Packers. I'll be at the game on Monday. I can't wait. We got box seats. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm also looking forward to seeing Baker, obviously. Love Baker. Love what he did for Oklahoma. He's a great guy. I got Green Bay in this game. Green Bay, in my opinion, is a much better team than the Rams. I'm not saying that either team's great, but the Rams
are terrible.
Yeah.
They're terrible. But that's why this game would scare me.
Yeah.
Just like
it's going to be 5 degrees.
Oh, fuck.
It's going to be cold. I think this better suits Green Bay.
Oh, yeah.
Get A.J. Dillon, Aaron Jones involved.
I think Green Bay wins probably after halftime in a rout. Might stay a game for a little bit. But, I mean, the Rams have had one of the worst Super Bowl hangovers in history of the NFL, if not the worst. Yeah. Have you ever seen a team? Where did they get their they beat the Raiders, right?
Yeah, they beat the Raiders.
Where have you seen a team win the Super Bowl and then the following year they're 4-9?
I don't remember. I can't recall.
I'm not saying a team's been this great the next year, but 4-9.
Yeah.
You can't even be 500. You can't even be have a chance. They have no chance.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah,
but I think the Packers win in a rout. I think they have to win.
They have to
win. They can't. If they lose, they're done.
Yeah. If they went out 76% shot for the playoffs, I'm clinging to it. I think the NFL would like to see Aaron Rodgers make the playoffs one last time.
I don't think it's his last time, but you can go ahead.
Well, I was going to say him and Brady one last time. I think Rodgers still plays next year.
I do too.
But, I like Green Bay in this game.
Yeah.
And one thing I do, they have a lot of things to determine this offseason. But I give a lot of credit to our GM for the players that he did draft this year, because a lot of people, the slander, and I know the slander that Watson was getting the early on in the season. The guy's been spectacular. He's like a taller Tyreek Hill in how fast he is.
Yeah.
He's super fast. He's like 6'4". He's playing exceptionally well. Quay Walker also playing exceptionally well. It'll be exciting. Anytime he gets the ball in his hands, I think he's going to go all the way. And I can't take my eyes off him when he's got the ball.
Yeah,
he's spectacular.
It's just too bad they didn't start doing this early on in the year.
Yeah. And who knows, maybe if he catches that ball in Minnesota, we got a whole different season, or if we take the bye after London. The list goes on. But we both got the Packers in this game, and I look forward to it. Last thing we want to touch on today is the Illini. They got a game today against Alabama A&M today.
Yay. 30-point spread. It's just one of those fucking uninteresting games. Like, can be hard to watch. Hopefully they don't struggle, because that's all we need as a fan base. But listen, I think Brad Underwood calling out his team is nothing. I think
it was important.
No, what in terms of, I think people are taking it out of context. He called the team out. It's not like he didn't belittle anyone. He
did call out Shannon Jr.
Well, he just made a snide remark. He didn't say anything. He just made a noise. I mean, and of course, he said, like, this is my best player. Like, where was he? But
I heard he was out pretty late the night before the game.
Probably was. I mean,
I can't blame him. Young kid.
The thing about it is Brad Underwood has a very good track record at Illinois. So I don't think he's done this before. He's called out. What year was it when he called the team out? Maybe it was Io's sophomore year. They weren't playing good. He called them out. He called them out before, and they respond. And look at what the players literally went to Twitter the next day and backed him. Yeah. Like, Sincere Harris said he's the best coach in the nation. Terrence Shannon Jr. said this. He's the best coach too. Like, I love playing for him. So, like, they obviously don't care. It didn't hurt none of the players. I think they realize he's right.
Yeah.
So,
no, it was good for. I think it's good for the team. I think it's going to benefit them, and a lot of times you need that, especially the younger players, and a lot of these guys haven't had to be the leaders of a team yet. And coming off a big win, you probably thought, oh, we're playing Penn State on a Saturday at home. We're going to get the win. And it's not what happened. So you got to come ready each and every day, and it was very good that he did that. And that's why I like Brad Underwood. I like who he is. I like the way he carries himself.
Well, he's not scared.
He speaks the truth. Yeah.
He's old. He's an old school coach, and there's not a lot of them left.
Yeah.
And 8 times out of 10, he gets what he wants. And it's shown.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his track record at Illinois shows that they've been able to win on the road. Obviously, they've been able to win at home. They've won championships.
They beat big
schools every year. The thing about it is he struggles in March. Yeah. And the thing about it is that can always change. That can change this year.
Yeah.
They could go on an Elite 8 run. This team is good enough to go on. This team is good enough to go to the championship. They've obviously played with every team. What team beat them pretty handily? You could say Penn State, but that was a game for
Virginia. That was a little bit of a game for a while.
Well, no, but it was like a 2-point. Illinois had a chance to take the lead in that game under 5 minutes. So, like, they really haven't gotten beat from tip to tip. And that's just who he is. He won't accept it. The thing about Underwood teams that I don't like is ever since he's gotten here, his team go on droughts. And they're long droughts. They're like 4 or 5 minutes, 6 minutes where like they get one bucket.
That happens a lot though.
You just can't have that.
Yeah. It's a game of runs.
Well, I think the thing about it is I watch every game.
Yeah.
So I notice it more than maybe others.
Yeah.
in general, but you can't have that if you want to be a top 10 team.
Mhm.
I mean, and they got to figure it out, which it's better to figure it out now than later.
Yeah. Basketball's a game of runs. One thing I don't like about a Brad Underwood team, like I've said before, is their free throw shooting.
Yeah.
But besides that, I like everything about Brad, and they're going to figure it out, and they're going to be okay.
I would
look forward to
agree.
them righting the ship.
I
So-
don't think there's much into losing a game like that. I mean, the thing about it is even with Io last year with Kofi Trent and Plummer, they had like 9 or 10 losses.
Yeah. And normally by the end of the year, you'll have 9 or 10 losses.
7 or 8 losses.
They still had 20-some wins. So it is what it is. We'll see what happens the rest of the the rest of the season. They're going to get some big-time wins.
They need to go out and they need to take care of business today. They don't need – this game doesn't need to be close. It might be – okay, it's going to be close for like the first 4 or 5 minutes because you're feeling each other out. But by halftime, they need to be up by 10, 15. They need to win by 25 or 30. They just need to get everybody back feeling good into the bragging rights game Thursday, which I will be there.
Yeah, and I think they will. I think they'll be all right. That's all we got for today. We're going to hop off here and start watching the games. We'll try to get a video in Wednesday next week.
Yeah, it'll have to be Wednesday because I'm gone Thursday. Unless Friday morning. Who plays Thursday night?
No, I work nights. I can do Friday morning. Thursday night, I think the Jets play Thursday night.
Yeah,
I can't remember who they're playing. But they play Thursday night.
It'll have to be Wednesday because obviously I can't do Thursday.
That's cool. So yeah, Wednesday we'll get around to doing another video, and next week we'll talk about the Packers-Dolphins matchup. And
we'll have to talk about it Wednesday.
Yeah, yep, we'll have to. So we'll do our picks and stuff then. And
if both teams are coming off of a loss, it's going to be such a well, it's probably going to be for me. It's probably going to be a dreadful talk, but for you, they're probably going to beat the Rams, but I don't know.
I'm looking forward to it. I've been looking forward to it for a long time, talking about the Packers-Dolphins matchup. Jake and I can finally disagree on something because I'm sure he'll pick the Dolphins and I'm going to pick the Packers to win.
I mean, it's going to depend on how they play today.
So that's just what I'm going to do. But everybody have a good weekend. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll come back again next week. Everybody have a good one.